Yeah, hi everyone, Mr. Markwick here. Today's video I'm going to show you how to use the quadratic formula to solve for quadratic equations. Now, in a previous video I've used the null factor law to show you how to solve a quadratic equation. So essentially, there's two ways you can solve quadratic equations. Putting it in that standard form, factorizing it, then using the null factor law to solve, or using the quadratic formula. And we know that quadratic equations can have, either 0, 1, or 2 solutions. For the sake of today's video, I'm not going to talk about the discriminant and how to, look at whether an equation will have 0, 1, or 2 solutions. I'm not going to go through that because my class, guys, we're only going to be looking at equations that have either 1 or 2 real solutions. So we're just going to go ahead and get straight into using the quadratic formula. And the quadratic formula, there's two versions of it there, but we actually simplify it into one. So basically it's just x is equal to minus b, or minus 1 times by b, plus or minus, that's the only difference between these two, plus or minus square root of b squared minus 4 times a times c all over 2a. Now, we take the values from the standard form of the quadratic formula. So when the quadratic equation. So when the quadratic equation is in the form, or standard form, ax squared plus bx plus c, we need that to be equal to 0 to be able to solve. We take these values of a, b, and c, and we substitute those into the quadratic formula there I've got in blue. Okay, so I've got two examples there. I'm just going to go straight into solving those using the quadratic formula. So for the first one, it's already in standard form. X squared plus 5x plus 3 is equal to 0. Alright. Now, I know that, looking at this, the value of a is 1. The coefficient of my x squared term is 1. The value of b is positive 5. And the value of c is positive 3. So I'm going to go ahead and substitute those values into the quadratic formula, the one that I've just done over here, and rewrite that without b, a, and c, or a, b, and c. I'm going to use 1, 5, and 3, respectively. So let's go ahead and do that. So x is equal to, let's go ahead and write here, minus 1 times 5, or minus 5, plus or minus square root of 5 squared minus 4 times a, which in this case is 1, times c, which in this case is 3, all over 2 times a, which in this case again is 1. So I'm now going to just sort of step by step solve this. So x is equal to, let's keep that minus 5 there, plus or minus root. Now 5 squared is 25, and minus 4 times 1 times 3, minus 4 times 1 is minus 4, times by minus 3 is minus 12, all over 2 times 1 is 2. So now I can just do what I've got underneath the surd there, so minus 5 plus or minus root 25 take 12 is 13 over 2. And in this instance, that's my solution, believe it or not. X is equal to minus 5 plus or minus root 13 over 2. If I could simplify here, if I could simplify the surd, or if I could simplify the fraction, I'd go ahead and do that. But in this case, I can't do that. 2 doesn't go into 5. And I can't find a factor of 13 that is a square number, so I'm going to leave that as my solution. Alright. So x is equal to minus 5 plus or minus root 13 over 2. Okay? And that is actually, believe it or not, two solutions. So the first solution would be minus 5 plus root 13 over 2. And the second solution would be minus 5 take root 13 over 2. But like I said earlier, we sort of simplified into just one equation rather than using those two there. Alright? Okay. Hopefully that makes sense. Let's go ahead and do the second example. Again, using the same process. Let's write the equation here again. So it's 2x squared, take 2x, take 1 is equal to 0. Again, it's already in that standard form we've spoken of, and I can write here that the value of a is 2, value of b is -2, and the value of c is 1. So I'm now going to substitute those values into the formula. Let's go ahead and do that. X is equal to minus 1 times b, which is -2, plus or minus square root of b squared, which is -2 squared, take 4 times a, which is 2, times c, which is 1, all over 2 times by a, which is 2. Okay, let's go ahead and do that bit by bit. It's a little bit trickier this time. Let's look at that first part. So, -2, -1 times -2 is actually +2. Okay, we're assuming there's a -1 at the front of that bracket there, multiplying -1 by -2, plus or minus root. Now, -2 all squared is -2 times -2, which is actually +4. Now, -4 times -2 times -4 times 2 times 1 is -8. No, we can't have that. I've made a mistake there somewhere. -4 times 2. That value of c, my apologies, is a -1. So -4 times 2 is -8 times on -1 is +8. Okay, so that's +8 in there, all over 2 times 2, which is 4. Okay, now I've got x equals 2 plus or minus root 4 plus 8 is 12, all over 4. Now, I can actually simplify this further, because I can simplify the surd and I can simplify the fraction. I'm going to show you how to do that real quick. So bear with me. We know that root 12 is the same as, if you can find a factor of 12 that's a square number, we can actually simplify that. I know that 4 is a square number. It's also a factor of 12. So root 12 can actually be written as root 4 times 3, which is the same as writing square root of 4 is actually 2, root 3. Alright, so those two are actually the same. Believe it or not, that's the simplified version. So x is equal to 2 plus or minus 2 root 3 over 4. Okay, and now I can actually simplify the fraction here, because 2 over 4 is the same as saying 1 over 2. So I've actually now got final answer, x equals 1 plus or minus 1 root 3, or I can just write root 3 over 2. Again, we write it as one solution, but essentially the two solutions are 1 plus root 3 over 2, or 1 minus root 3 over 2. So guys, that's how you solve a quadratic equation using the quadratic formula. Okay, first step, make sure, if it's not already, these two examples it already was in standard form. Okay, then just write down your values of a, b, and c, and substitute them into that formula. Okay, so hopefully that helps, and good luck.